The market started the week strong and we were on pace for a decent week. Then Friday happened. Thanks again for checking out the Silver Reports Weekly Review, where we take a look at a few of the headlines that moved the markets during the week. On Monday, the three major markets were up. The Dow was up 249 points, the S&P was up 34 points, and the Nasdaq was up 106 points. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, in an interview, announced a 90-day extension of the temporary license that allows Huawei to do business with American companies. In China, the country updated its interest rate for new bank-issued loans in an attempt to keep corporate financing costs down for companies. A lot of market noise on Monday, not much news. In earnings, Baidu reported an EPS and revenue beat, EPS by 55 cents, revenue by $120 million. IQiy, the Netflix of China, missed EPS estimates by 4 cents and revenue estimates of $1 billion was in line with analyst estimates. The stock fell 9% in after-hours trading. And Weibo beat EPS estimates by 8 cents but missed on revenue by $2.9 million. On Tuesday, all three markets were down. The Dow was down 173 points, the S&P was down 23 points, and the Nasdaq was down 54 points. Investors were bearish the day before the Fed meeting notes. In earnings news, Home Depot reported an EPS beat of 9 cents but missed on revenue by $140 million. And Kohl's reported an EPS beat of 2 cents and a revenue beat by $180 million. On Wednesday, the markets got back to being bullish, with the Dow closing up 240 points, the S&P closing up 23 points, and the Nasdaq closing up 71 points. The Fed's July meeting notes were released, revealing that some Fed participants preferred a 50-point basis cut over the 25-point basis cut that did occur. The meeting notes also revealed that the last rate cut was not the beginning of a long-term easing effort. Retail earnings from Target and Lowe's did help to boost the markets on Wednesday. Target beat revenue estimates by $100 million and EPS estimates by 20 cents. The stock closed up 20% on the day. Lowe's reported an EPS beat of 15 cents and a revenue beat of $30 million. Nordstrom's earnings were not so great. The company missed revenue estimates by $140 million, but beat EPS estimates by 11 cents. L Brands missed revenue estimates by $50 million, but beat EPS estimates by 4 cents. And Analog Devices beat EPS estimates by 3 cents and revenue estimates by $20 million. On Thursday, the markets were mixed. The Dow closed up 49 points, the S&P closed down a point, and the Nasdaq closed down 28 points. Investors were focused on the Fed's meeting in Jackson Hole on Friday. In other news, Boeing stock had a pretty good day after the company announced its plans to increase production of its 737 MAX plane. Hasbro purchased Studio Entertainment One. Will Hasbro follow Marvel by making their properties box office hits? We'll see. Fitbit stock saw a jump after a collaboration with Singapore's public health program was announced, and VMWare announced it acquired Carbon Black, a securities firm, for $2.1 billion. VMware dropped 5% in after-hours trading on the news. In earnings news for Thursday, SalesForce beat revenue and EPS estimates by $40 million and 19 cents respectively. HP also reported a top line and bottom line beat, revenue by $20 million and EPS by 3 cents, but the stock fell 6% in after-hours trading. Gap reported a revenue miss by $10 million, but beat EPS estimates by 10 cents. Dick's Sporting Goods beat EPS estimates by 6 cents and revenue estimates by $50 million. Intuit beat revenue estimates by $29 million and EPS estimates by 5 cents. The stock jumped 5% in after-hours trading. And Ross Stores beat revenue estimates by $20 million and EPS estimates by 30 cents. On Friday, the markets had a roller coaster-like drop in points after trade war tensions were turned up by both the U.S. and China. China announced that they would impose an additional tariff on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods. In retaliation, President Trump tweeted that U.S. companies should immediately start looking for alternatives to their businesses in China. Also on Friday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell spoke, saying that again the Fed would do what it needs to do to sustain expansion. He also stated the U.S. economy faces significant risk, but it's currently in a favorable place. With all of that, the Dow closed down 623 points, the S&P closed down 75 points, and the Nasdaq closed down 239 points. The three major markets closed down on the week. In earnings news for Friday, Foot Locker missed top and bottom line numbers, missing EPS by 1 cent and revenue estimates by $60 million. And Red Robin's reported a revenue beat of $1.5 million and an EPS beat by 72 cents. In crypto news, Bitcoin lost its upward momentum from a few weeks ago and appears to be headed back towards that $9,000 level of support. Bitcoin was trading at $10,417 at the time of this recording. Ethereum was trading at $194.86, which is around an old resistance level, which has now become support. Litecoin was trading at $75.22 and appears to be headed towards an area of support from earlier in the year. And Ripple was trading at 27 cents. Crude oil closed the week at $53.89 per barrel, down from last week's close at $55.24. A big winner for the week, Fastly, FSLY, the stock gained 52% on the week. A big loser for the week was Sarepta Therapeutics. It lost 25% of its value after the FDA rejected one of its drugs to treat muscular dystrophy. Just a reminder, a link to sign up for our weekend article in Focus is in the description below. Also, any headlines you want to read more about, the link to the full story is also in the description below. Thanks again for checking out the Silver Report's market review. This channel is dedicated to anyone who wants to start investing but doesn't know how or where to start. If you have any questions, ask in the comment section. Like and subscribe, and may your next investment be your best investment. See you next week.